friends, it's Melissa, and today we're doing something that I have always wanted to do, but just never really felt like it was a good time to do it until now. This is gonna be a short little one-off little fun video about Pokemon! Yay! So, as many of you may know, Pokemon Emerald was my first game that I ever owned, and Pokemon is just something that I've always enjoyed the idea of and playing, and it's just so fun. And with all of with all of the announcements lately from E3 about like all Pokemon stuff and just binging a lot of Pokemon YouTuber videos, I decided it was my turn to step into the playing field and put my hat in the ring and say, hey, these are my top 10 Pokemon. So, here we go. I am going to say these were my guidelines for when I was ranking my Pokemon. 1, I was not going to have any legendaries. Nothing with like special, whether it be like an Ultra Beast now or whatever. No legendaries. 2, I was not considering a Pokemon's Mega Evolution form. If a Pokemon has a Mega Evolution, it is not considered when I was picking this list. I am just looking at Pokemon for how they are. 3, I'm not basically going off of like skill sets, cuteness, or coolness. These are just Pokemon that I am drawn to and that I tend to like and enjoy, whether it be for a personal reason or just they look cool. Number 4. Is that 4? I can't count. The next guideline. The next guideline is I don't necessarily see myself putting all of these Pokemon on a team together. However, they all have been a part, usually, of teams that I have been successful with and really enjoyed in one way or another. So those are my basic guidelines. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments and I will get back to them as soon as I can, which probably will be like a week because I am a slow typer, but it's fine. Anyway, let's hop right into the video. So we're going to start off with number 10. Number 10 is Zorua. Now, I really enjoy Zorua because, I mean, Zorua is adorable. It's adorable, it's very powerful, and I love its ability to copy the last Pokemon in the party. And it can actually be really helpful when you're trying to fight someone who really understands type differences, because just throwing a Pokemon, even if you use a different Pokemon that has some similar moves, it can really end up tricking the opponent, and I really enjoy that kind of aspect of Zorua. Plus, Zorua is like N's Pokemon from Black and White, so N is one of my favorite like people characters in Pokemon, so Zorua has always been a favorite of mine for that reason. Number 9, we have the lovely, the elegant Dragonair. Now, Dragonair can be a powerful Pokemon, but really I picked Dragonair just because they're so elegant and they just have this very nice grace about them. I don't really like Dragonite that much, just based on design. Yes, powerful, but just design alone, I felt like there was a lot lacking, and they should have just kept going with the blue line. I understand there's a lot of other reasons why they did not, but I love Dragonair, and that is where that evolution line stops for me. Number 8, we have Absol. This is the only Pokemon on my list that does not have an evolution. Now, we're ignoring Mega Evolutions, please remember that. Absol has always been a favorite of mine. I thought the first time I saw an Absol when I was playing Pokemon Emerald, this was the Pokemon. This was the coolest Pokemon. I literally had to have like 20 of them. And I loved it. I loved the Pokedex entry about how wherever it goes, disaster follows. And this was one of the aspects that really started getting me into like the idea of Pokemon lore and like the stories within the Pokedex entries and everything. And Absol really did that for me, and I always have liked Absol in like the anime, and if Absol was ever in any movies, I've always enjoyed the character traits that are applied to Absol. Just being this super cool, somewhat mystic, somewhat misunderstood Pokemon, and I don't know, it's cute. How can you not like that Pokemon? Alright, number 7. Now, this might have a lot of people diversive. I don't know. People either seem to love or hate this Pokemon, but it's Flygon. I have loved Flygon forever. One of my favorite dragon Pokemon. Just absolutely love it. I love how different each evolution stage is. I didn't realize when I first caught a little baby Trapinch that it was gonna turn into a freaking dragonfly and then a full-fledged dragon. That was one of the coolest things to me as a kid. I knew Trapinch evolved, but I had no idea it would end up being this glorious thing. And yes, Flygon still needs a Mega Evolution, but I love Flygon just the way they are, and it's got goggles. It's got freaking pilot goggles, and I just love the color scheme on it. It's so well built and structured, and like I can see this being like an actual like dragon. Like if our world had dragons, this would be a dragon in that world, and you cannot tell me otherwise. But yeah, I love Flygon. I love Flygon a lot. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm petting the air. Okay. Number 6. Oh, I should have also mentioned, I am pronouncing these Pokemon names the way I always have, so I apologize if it's incorrect or anything, and I say that because this next one always trips me up. So, number 6 is Mancetric, or Mancetric, something like that. I love this Pokemon, but it's mainly for one reason. On the Pokemon Coliseum series games, it took place during the Hoenn. It's messaging me. Stop! I'm filming! The main reason, though, why I like this Pokemon is because in the Pokemon Coliseum games, this was one of the first Shadow Pokemon I caught before I understood that you could actually catch all of the Shadow Pokemon. So I think it was in XD Gale of Darkness when I really had this Pokemon, and I absolutely love teaming it up with another Pokemon later on my list, and this one. It was such a good combo, and that game the format for a standard battle is just a double battle, and so that's why it really worked out a lot. And I just really grew attached to this Pokemon, and like, if it was a real Pokemon, I would just want to hug it all the time, even if it let my hair get frizzy all the time. I would not care. I love it. Even though it's fierce and feisty in the anime and everything, you can also see it being very loyal and loving, and that's why I really love Mancetric. Alright, number 5, we got our next dragon. Actually, this is our last dragon on the list. It is Salamence. Now, we're ignoring the Mega Evolution for this one because that one's awful. But I have really always loved Salamence. It's kind of similar to a reason why I like Flygon so much, is because the evolution chain makes sense, and it's just done in such a nice, unique way where if you catch a little Bagon, you're not really going to realize that it's going to turn into this big old Salamence, you know? You see that it's a dragon Pokemon, you know that, but you don't necessarily know what it's going to turn out to the first time you get one. And I just love the design and like the simplicity almost of Salamence with like his wings and how they're curved. They almost kind of look like the Batman logo, but I'm not saying anything. And I just absolutely adore Salamence. It's got a really great, powerful moveset that you can like give it, you know, it's got a lot of strong moves that it can learn. Its stats are fantastic. And I've never had a Salamence that I didn't like have an easy way of making one of the strongest Pokemon on my team. Like, it's a very easy to train Pokemon, and this is another Pokemon where, you know, if dragons were real in our world, this is one of those ones that you would see. This is a freaking dragon, and I love it. There's so many dragon Pokemon that come into the series later where they just kinda don't look like dragons anymore. But this is still a true dragon, and I love dragons in general, so that's the reason why Salamence is on this list. Alright, we're nearing the top. Number 4, we have the ever so lovely Sceptile. Sceptile is just a really nice Pokemon, and I was actually kind of surprised myself when I was putting this list together to realize how much I actually really like Sceptile as a Pokemon. Now, while when it does get its Mega Evolution, it does gain the dragon attribute, that is not a reason why it is on this list, despite my love for dragons. Sceptile is actually on this list because in the games, in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games of all things, Dungeon of Time or Mystery, something like that, one of your characters is a Grovyle, and at the time in my Pokemon Emerald game, because I still played Pokemon Emerald at the time, I went back and I was able to get myself a Grovyle, and when I evolved it into a Sceptile, it was at the same point, spoiler alert if you have not played Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, it was at the same point when that Grovyle died in the game, and so I wanted to make sure that I was able to get it to a Sceptile, and so this is a completely personal reason for it being on here. I really grew attached to that character in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and so whenever I have a Sceptile or see a Sceptile, that's kind of like what could have been, what should have been, and it makes me kind of happy to be like, Sceptile. Plus, it just looks badass. How can you don't want to pick a fight with that thing because you know you're getting some needles in places where you don't want needles. It's probably painful, but probably a good Pokemon to have on your side. And in my opinion, this is also one of the strongest grass-type Pokemon. Not just grass starter, grass-type Pokemon. I do like a lot of the starters in games and everything, but Sceptile is just a standout. And while I don't really remember what... Because I like all the starters in Emerald. Like, it's kind of like Kanto for that reason. I like all of the starters. It's really hard for me to pick one. But nowadays, if I have to pick one, it would be Trico every time, so I can get this lovely, lovely Sceptile. Alright, top 3, who's ready to judge me so immensely? You knew it was coming. You can't have a top 10 Pokemon list without at least one evolution on it. And in our number 3 spot, that place goes to Jolteon. Now, a lot of people hate on me for liking Jolteon. Jolteon is not the best with stats, you know, it has a very good speed stat, but unless you decide to play around with the IVs and everything, and the EVs, it doesn't really have much else. So Jolteon is the other Pokemon that I like to pair in Pokemon Yellow Darkness with my Mansatrick. And they were such a good team to have together, and I absolutely loved having them because Jolteon was able to power up Mansatrick and reheal it with a Shockwave move because Mansatrick had an ability where whenever it was attacked by electric attacks, it would just gain health. So they were really able to feed off of each other that way, and it was really, really helpful considering my Mansatrick was stronger than my Jolteon, and Jolteon was faster than any other Pokemon, so it would always make sure Mansatrick got healed before it could attack, so nothing could attack the Mansatrick. You see what I'm saying? So it was really, really good for that reason. And also just Jolteon has always been my favorite Eevee because I like the way it looks. It's very cute but very simple, and I just want to pet it. It's the same thing with Mansatrick. Like, I want to pet you, you're gonna make my hair go staticky, but I don't care. I wish you were real. I want to pet you. I want a friend to hold. Yeah, Jolteon. I just love Jolteon. Number 2. This one was actually a hard decision for me because, again, this is about Kanto starters, and I love them all. I love all of the final evolutions, but which one do I like the best? It's Charizard. Dragon. Or what should be a dragon. No, but for real, Charizard is one of the best, simplest, cool-looking Pokemon in all of Pokemon history. And very versatile. It can fly, it can shoot fire, it's strong, it's quick, it has you can play with a Charizard in so many different ways to figure out what exactly you want from it for building your team. And it is another one of those very versatile Pokemon, much like Salamence, where it's very easy to train up and you can really play with stats as much as you want and make sure that this is going to be, no matter what you choose to do with it, a good fit on your team. Also, I've always loved Charizard in the anime too as well. Just every time, it's just the idea of Charizard just being like, I do what I want and nobody's gonna tell me otherwise. No trainer, no other dragon, no other Charizard. It's me. And that was a trait that I always really felt any Charizard would have, very like cocky and full of themselves. And so that was one of the reasons why I decided, Charizard, you're on the list and you're number 2. So before we go to my number 1, which I'm sure is going to make a lot of people confused, angry, and upset. So for my honorable mentions, we have Vulpix, we have Ninetales, Shiftry, Milotic, Walrein, Decidueye, and Toucannon. All of those Pokemon, I really enjoyed things about them, but when I was going through the list, it was, what Pokemon could I live without being on a team, or what Pokemon could I live without, like, which ones do I not have as personal of a connection with, less of a story about, and those ones were kind of it. I felt Toucannon and Decidueye were too new for me to include on this list, although I really do like the designs of both of them and the move sets for both of them. Milotic I felt was too similar to Dragonair in that sense, and I wanted to have more diversity, so I decided to pick Dragonair. And then Shiftry I've just always thought looked cool, but there's nothing more than that. So yeah. And then Vulpix and Ninetales. If I was gonna put one of them on the list, I was gonna put both of them on the list. And then when I really thought about it, I was like, I don't really want to put them on here because I like them, but I already have a lot of cute cuddly ones on here, and a lot of strong ones, and a lot of versatile ones. So I felt the others that are on this list were much more defined than Vulpix or Ninetales. My phone needs to stop buzzing. Okay. The last Pokemon on this list, the one that tops the list for me, my favorite Pokemon of all time, and this has not changed for years, might I add. You might have a hint if you watch me on Twitch and donate bits. You can do that, by the way. Quilava. Now, Quilava has always been one of my favorite Pokemon. The moment I really fell in love with Quilava once I got Heart Gold. Because I played my brother's copy of Silver when he had that, and I always picked, Cyndaquil, but I never wanted to evolve it all the way to Typhlosion. I knew what Typhlosion looked like, I knew that it was powerful, but I really always liked the design and feel of Quilava best. And so Cyndaquil is like the very tiny, cute little thing. But Quilava has a very nice mix of like being cool, fast, and unique still. And while still feisty, is also still adorable. Because I feel once you evolve into Typhlosion, you kind of lose all the cuteness and the love that you kind of had for it. And like that's not to bag on Typhlosion at all, because Typhlosion is still an amazing Pokemon. But I just felt that Quilava really encapsulates, like, when I think of a Pokemon, I think of Quilava. It's a Pokemon that's very, like, versatile. It's a Pokemon that can be trained many different ways, and it's a Pokemon that is that right amount of cool, cute, fierce, all of those different adjectives that I could pull out right now. And really, there isn't really a personal attachment to this Pokemon, which is kind of crazy considering how many of these Pokemon on this list do, but, I mean, even when I played like Pokemon Gale of Darkness or Colosseum, if I had a Quilava, I never really used it either. So it wasn't that big of a deal to me to not have a Quilava in those games. Quilava is just like a companion Pokemon for me almost. It's just something I want to have next to me because it makes me feel good. Is that the way I want to phrase that? Quilava's a feel-good Pokemon, okay? No, but this is just one of the Pokemon that I feel has a great design, and it's just very, very... It's everything that I've already said. I'm just repeating myself now. But yeah, go ahead and judge my list down below. Let me know what you think. Are there any Pokemon you would switch around or add? Or how many of these Pokemon would make it onto your own top 10 list? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you guys want to subscribe, you can click right over here. And if you want to watch another video, you can click right over here. Thank you guys so much for watching and for being here, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!